One of the first things I always do is activate my canvas, or in this case, it is the wood panel. You can also do this if you're using paper or maybe doing them in a journal. So I just take a moment to take a deep breath. Feel myself connected to the earth. And I always like to begin by either writing something of gratitude or maybe infusing the board with specific intentions. Things like love, joy, gratitude, wisdom. I could also write like I would in a journal if I had something that I wanted to release, or perhaps intentions. This is activating our canvas. So I'm creating this mandala a little bit different than I would have had I been on a train or an airplane. For those, I usually just used a pen and a piece of paper, my little journal. For this one, I'm actually going to start by preparing the background and then drawing, outlining the mandala and painting it. I'm using just some basic acrylic paints. This one I just got at Michael's. There are many places that you can get them. Blick Art Supply online. I have some shimmery paints from Arteza that I got from Amazon. You can pick them up at Walmart, Hobby Lobby. The sources are endless. I usually just use a paper plate or leftover plastic trays as my palettes. You can get palette paper, although I find that freezer paper that comes quite inexpensively in a large roll works just as well if you don't have toss away plastic or other things. Of course, since we're using paint, I'll need a paintbrush. I just got these off Amazon. Very inexpensive. I think they were about $10, so you don't need anything fancy. I have a container of water. You could use cleaned out yogurt container or pickle jar or jelly jar. I like to just use up things and recycle. Give them new life. Okay, here we go. Let's paint our background. I have no idea what this mandala is going to look like until we finish. I'm just going to start right in the middle with a circle. You can follow along with me or watch the video and come back later to do your own. I'm going to add 4 lines, very simple, coming out from the circle, and then 4 more, for a total of 8. I do know that most of mine are very much inspired by nature. So we'll begin by adding a curved line, connecting each of these single lines. And it'll start to look like a flower. One of the things that my painting practice has taught me is to let go of the outcome. So my initial drawing with our paint pen smeared. Perhaps I was a little impatient and didn't let it dry as I was trying to fix some of the wobbly lines. And I actually now, having added more white paint, I like this smoky effect. And there's kind of an image that's floating underneath. There's also something else I've learned, the messy middle. And while we're not quite in the middle, it's okay that as we move along, things get messy and muddy and maybe a little bit frustrating, but that's part of the process. And this has helped me so much in everyday life. Sometimes a project at work isn't turning out the way I thought, and I immediately think, oh, it's just the messy middle. Just keep going. And in the end, I'm always surprised at the actual outcome. Okay, let's pick up where we left off. It is now thoroughly dry, and I drew out the first part of our mandala. Again, starting with the circle, the straight lines, and the curved lines. And we'll go ahead and continue to draw it out. And again, we're just going to add a second loop and go around. My pen catches, it's not quite as smooth as paper. So when we're done, we are going to have a double flower. And now we're going to add a lotus leaf. It's one of my favorite shapes. We're going to put a dot and then start in the middle of these 2 flower petals and just make a curved line to the dot and another curved line to the dot. So simple shapes that we're going to build into a beautiful mandala. And I do like to move my page around. It's just easier. And again, a curved line up to the dot. It's okay if our petals are a little lopsided. If you look at nature, nothing is perfect. And I like to use the dot because it gives me something to draw towards and to try to keep the same distance as I'm going around in the circle. And again, we'll just keep finishing out with our lotus leaves. We're almost done. I kind of got lost in the drawing and stopped talking. It's very easy to do. Remember, we're drifting off into that right brain. I'm going to keep going with the lotus leaf, only this time we're going to start with our dot here and build it out from the points of the other lotus leaves. And we'll just keep going around. And now I'm going to add some extra decorations. This can be one of the funnest parts, and you can really let your creativity run wild. You did it. You have taken the first steps in creating your own personal painting and creative practice by drawing a mandala. Let's move on to lesson 3, and I'm going to show you even more